So let's get into it. Let's talk about this book, 48 Laws of Power. So I want to preface me sharing my opinion and me talking about this book, because every single time I bring up this book to somebody, or I have a conversation about it, or I see somebody post it and I say something, I can feel the attitude from miles away. I can feel the attitude from the screen. People do not like when you tell them that you don't like this book, or when you say that you don't want people to read this book. And it's usually because they know someone that has read it and they value that person's opinion, or they're reading it themselves. And what I find funny about that is that a lot of people will pick up 48 Laws of Power, and that's the book they want to start with. That's the book that they want to read to get back into reading. They want that to be the first book that they've read in a really long time. And the reality is, if you do that, you're probably not going to enjoy it. It's most definitely not going to be a book that you're going to enjoy reading, and you're just reading it for the sake of the Instagram post. So of course, when someone like myself points out that it's not a very good book and you probably shouldn't be reading it, deep down you probably agree with me, and you're probably like, yeah, this book does suck, but you don't want to admit that because you're a reader now. You read now, so you don't want anybody to come for the books you read. But yeah, so if this conversation, or if the things that I am about to say trigger you or upset you, you're probably the person who needs to hear them most. So just keep that in mind. If anything I'm saying makes you feel some type of way, that really means you probably need to listen. Second, kind of piggybacking off what I said a second ago, stop reading things just because people that you know or close to or attracted to, or your friends read them. Like, it's okay to read books that you like. It's okay to read books that interest you. You don't have to read books just because everybody else is reading them. And then lastly, before I get into it, I looked up the reviews for this book just because I was curious, and I kind of wanted to get some inspiration or kind of help with my notes on things that I wanted to say. And I would be lying if I said that the main thing from the reviews that screamed at me, or the main thing that I took away from the reviews of this book, was every single positive review was written by a white man. Yes, I went to their profile or I checked their name or whatever to look. Every single positive review of this book was written by a white man. And every single negative review of this book I noticed was written by women. So that's kind of the consensus that I gathered from the internet, was that women, people who tend to be a little more intuitive and emotional and caring, not fucking with the book. White men, who tend to like to manipulate and control people, especially in the business world and when it comes to power, love the book. And I think that says enough as is. So let's just get right into it with the title. So the book is called 48 Laws of Power. Before I even looked into the book, before I knew what the book was about, before I even kind of did my own digging, diving, and research on it, I was instantly turned away because of the title. 48 Laws of Power strikes me as odd because there are different ways to look at power. And I Googled the definition of power just to make sure I had this right. So there are two definitions of power. The first definition is possession of control, authority, or influence over others. And the second definition of power is physical might or strength. So those are two things. And I think we all know that 48 Laws of Power is definitely not talking about 48 laws of physical might and strength. It's definitely talking about power in regards to possession of control, authority, or influence over others. And so the reason that this book kind of hits home for me, or it really makes me feel some type of way, is majority of the people that I know that read the book and enjoy the book are Black. Most of the people that I know that read 48 Laws of Power and preach and live by it, and you even have celebrities, Drake, actually the 50th Law of Power came out because he collabed with like 50 Cent or something. So you have people like Kanye West, Drake, 50 Cent, all these celebrities endorsing this book. And don't get me wrong, I love Drake's music. I love all that music and I love those people too, but those aren't role models. Those aren't people I want to be like. Those are not people that I'm going to go to for life or even business advice. And so when I first came across and heard about this book written by this white man called 48 Laws of Power, I was really frustrated that every single person that I was hearing about it from was Black. Because I'm like, why are you reading this book that this white man wrote on controlling and manipulating people? So you're going to read the book that him and his friends used to control you and your homies? That makes sense to you? What do you say? Basically manipulation. Yes, that's essentially what the book is, and I'm about to get into it because I wrote down some of the laws. Now the book, obviously there's 48 laws in the book, and I could sit here and go through all 48 with you, but that would take all damn day. So instead, I chose a couple that I kind of like scrolled through them, and I picked the ones that really just like screamed at me and came at me. But before I get into the laws and talk about the ones that really I didn't like, I want to ask general questions, just kind of like out loud, just for the sake of conversation. Because whenever I see somebody reading 48 Laws of Power, the first thing I'm going to ask them, or I want to ask them, is why. Why are you reading 48 Laws of Power? What benefit do you think that book is going to give you? Why do you want power? Why? Why do you want power? Because if you want power, that means you feel powerless. You feel powerless. And when you feel powerless, that means that you cannot bring your desires into your reality. That's what powerlessness is whenever your desires, the things you want, are not here. They are not in your reality. Your thoughts, your actions, your words are all pulling you this way, and your desires are this way. So I've always just had a hard time understanding why you think that controlling and manipulating and having power over other people will help you have power over yourself. Why are you reading 48 Laws of Power? Your dating life sucks. Your social life sucks. Your passion projects, non-existent. You don't stand up for yourself. You have a hard time setting boundaries. You're constantly in toxic relationships and friendships. Why are you reading 48 Laws of Power? It's a cutthroat book. You're not cutthroat. Period. You can't even take simple risk to better yourself. You haven't conquered yourself. You can't push yourself to do anything. Why on earth are you trying to read about how to push other people to do stuff? Sips tea. Me. Let y'all think on that one. But so I'm about to get into the laws, but that's the main purging or like thing that I want to scream at people or ask people whenever they're reading that book is I'm like, you have no business trying to learn how to control other people when you can't even control yourself. Get that together. Get you together, and then maybe we can talk about your influence on other people. But let's get into these silly ass laws that Mr. Robert Greene wants y'all following. Let's get into these laws. Now, like I said, there are 48, and I think 50 Cent collabed with him so they could come up with 50. So there might be 50 bullshit laws now. But there's a total of 48, and I've picked 7 of them to kind of touch on and talk on. And in the future, I definitely could see myself talking about more of them and maybe bringing up more of them. But for now, let's just focus on these 7 because these were the 7 that were easiest for me to just be like, what the fuck are you talking about? So rule number 1, let's talk about number 1, the opener of the book, his first law: never outshine the master. I don't know about y'all, that's giving me hella slave vibes. I'm so sorry. There is no way in hell I would start my book with the first law of power being never outshine the master. And there's no way in hell that's as comfortable with y'all. And if it does, stay away from me. But there's a couple reasons I have a problem with that rule. 1, if you really live your life with the sense of never outshine your master, you will risk remaining stuck behind average bosses and people for the rest of your life. If you have the mentality that you cannot outshine the people that are above you or your bosses, you will forever be stuck behind average people. You will never have the courage or audacity to actually give your voice or your opinions and maybe prove that you have something of value to say or that you would be better off in that position. Now, if you want a safe, modest, and simple life, go for it. Never outshine your master. But if you want a safe, modest, and simple life, again, why the hell are you reading 48 Laws of Power? Sips tea. Second law. And I really chose to do the first 5 in order because it blows my mind that the first 5 are all terrible. And I don't know how anyone made it past the first one. So the first one, never outshine your master. We've already established that's trash. Law number 2, never put too much trust in friends. Never put too much trust in friends. So basically what you're telling me is to make everyone an enemy and to not trust the people around me and to not care about them. But because how I see it is your net work is your net worth. So if your network is full of enemies and full of shitty people and people that you don't really care about and fuck with, your net worth is shitty and no one's gonna fuck with it. So it doesn't make sense if you really want power and you really want to have influence over people, especially a positive influence and have positive change. Why on earth would you not trust in your friends? Why would you not trust the people that you care about and care about you? I don't even really say too much about that one. Rule number 3, conceal your intentions. Y'all, it's great. It's manipulative as fuck. Conceal your intentions. He might as well name chapter 3, make enemies. Like, concealing your intentions is exactly how you get your lies to catch up with you. And if you're anything like me, I can spot fakeness a mile away, especially when it's consistent. If you're consistently concealing your intentions, the people around you and the people that spend a lot of time around you are going to pick up on that. And your lies are going to catch up with you. And you're going to end up losing everyone around you. Everyone of value, everything of value around you is going to completely go away. Why on earth would you conceal your intentions? Probably because you want to manipulate somebody. Interesting coincidence. Rule number 4, always say less than necessary. What? Always say less than necessary. So basically, if something's necessary to say, don't say it, because you want to say less than necessary. You want to say the things, you want to talk about the things that aren't necessary to say. Again, I don't need to expand on that. Rule number 5. This one really pisses me off, and it's so ass backwards. Rule number 5 is, so much depends on your reputation. Guard it with your life. The irony in that is, guarding your reputation is the same as caring about or worrying about what other people think of you. So how is guarding your reputation supposed to give you power? Because if I'm guarding my reputation, that means I care about what other people think or say about me. And that's really giving them power over me. If I care about what you say about me, if I care about what you think about my reputation, if I care about what you say about my reputation, and I'm monitoring and editing my reputation for the sake of you, you have power over me. I don't have power over you. If I had genuine power over you, I wouldn't give a fuck about what you say, think, or whatever about my reputation. I would just do me. So no. Just no. You do not need to guard your reputation with your life. Guard your reputation with your heart. Guard your reputation with your good sense. Guard your reputation from yourself, but don't guard your reputation from other people. That gives them power over you, Robert. Where Robert at? Tell Robert to join my live, because he's slipping. He's asleep. So I didn't do 7, but I didn't do 6, but I did pick up on number 7 because it literally made like my stomach turn. Number 7. Get others to do the work, but always take the credit. Y'all, I am not fucking kidding. That is literally the 7th rule in this man's book. Get others to do the work, but always take the credit. Again, that rule should be named how to get rid of all the valuable people around you. How to lose all the good people, how to be abandoned by anybody that wants to contribute any type of value or effort to your project or your dreams. I know that the whole book is based off of ancient systems and ancient laws and ancient civilizations, which is funny because we're not an ancient civilization. But this one really kind of gives it away in the sense of back in the day, yeah, whoever was king, whoever was master, whoever was boss, what he says goes. He was the say-all. He was the do-all. He had the power for everything. But that's not how it is anymore. I'll be damned if I come up with something or I do something and you take the credit. I'm dipping. I'm not going to stand here and let you take the credit for me. Again, that's giving me real slave and master vibes. Slaves doing all the work. Master taking all the credit. Number 11. Learn. And again, I wish I was making these things up because they are repulsive. Number 11. Learn to keep people dependent on you. Learn to keep people dependent on you. You want to know who would benefit from that law? Controlling people, paranoid, jealous people, sociopaths, psychopaths, abusive partners. Those are the people that would benefit from a law like that. Keep people dependent on you. Again, ass backwards and ironic as hell because there is no power in a codependent relationship. If you're in any type of relationship, business partnership, relationship, friendship, where you are depending on other people to be dependent on you, that is what codependent means, and that is powerlessness. Codependent has no power. So if you're expecting other people to be dependent on you, you're doing the exact opposite of getting power. You're giving it away. Again, manipulative and disgusting. And then the last one that I'm going to cover for today is rule number 14. Pose as a friend. Work as a spy. Again, I am not joking. You can look this shit up. The 14th law in this book is pose as a friend. Work as a spy. First of all, this is exactly how you socially isolate yourself. This is exactly how you get everyone around you to want nothing to do with you. And once again, ass backwards and extremely ironic because powerful people hire spies. Powerful people send spies. Powerful people are not spies themselves. Not advocating for anybody sending spies to go do stuff, but again, a lot of things in here just don't make sense to me. I think that's the last. Yeah, that's the last one that I wrote. Or the last one that I really wanted to talk about or make a note on. So again, there are 48 in total. I've only discussed 7 of them, and those 7 alone have made me want to puke. So I can only imagine how I would feel if I was to actually go through and dive into all 48 laws. What did I write on here? Oh yeah, but of course, I have to give you guys a suggestion or a better book for personal development or for power. And I talk about this book all the time, and I'm going to talk about it until you guys get sick of it or until she sends me a signed copy. But The Anatomy of Loneliness by Teal Swan is the most amazing book I've ever read, and it's such a million times better replacement than 48 Laws of Power. But there is one part in this book about power that she actually has, and I literally sat on my floor and I flipped through this damn book for like 20 minutes, going through all of my notes and post-its to find this part because I wanted to share it. But really, really small snippet. She says, the idea of power terrifies most people. It's frightening because people associate power with tyranny and manipulation, both things that cause suffering for others, and thus both things that give power a bad rep in human society. So, again, get this book, you want to read it for yourself, but I love that she points out how power has a terrible rep because it's associated with tyranny and manipulation. I wonder why. I wonder why power is associated with tyranny and manipulation. Couldn't have anything to do about the book called 48 Laws of Power that's about manipulation, could it? That's an interesting coincidence. But yes, like, so I don't want you guys to, the message I want you guys to take away from this is not be terrified of power or avoid power or never want power. The message I want you guys to take away is that power is found within you. The only person you need to have power over is yourself. And once you have power and control over yourself, everything else will fall into line. Everything else will fall into place. But you don't need to pick up a book or read a book to learn how to control and manipulate people. That's just weird. That's just weird and white. It's giving me really white and weird. I'm just being real with you. And so I mentioned in my story that like the focus of my talk was going to be talking about how I think this book is dangerous to the Black community. And unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to like talk on that like I wanted to because I got so passionate and like into just discussing the bullshit laws of the book. But like I said in the beginning, it frustrates me that me personally, I can't speak for everyone, but me personally, every person that I have come across that has suggested this book, read this book, is reading that book, is Black. And it makes me so angry. Because as a whole, the Black community, we would be much better off and we would have such an easier time coming together if, one, we weren't so dependent on white people's words. Let's start there. Stop worrying about what they do and let's worry about what we want to do. But second of all, why are you trying to control each other? We're always trying to control each other. Always got to have control. Always got to be the best. Always got to be the strongest, smartest, most manipulative. And we got into the war with each other in the community because of manipulation. And because people were controlling us and manipulating us and putting us against one another. So it frustrates me that we're continuing to read this book and spread this book and share this book that is only making it worse and is only strengthening the divide and is only making us more manipulative and more controlling and more power hungry and power hungry for things that don't even matter. You're not power hungry for self-love. You're not power hungry to make you feel good or make you a better person. You're power hungry to put people on their knees. You want to be praised. You want to be worshiped. You want people to look up to you. Nobody is going to look up to you if you're a manipulative asshole. Nobody is going to look up to you if you never outshine your master, if you never put too much trust in friends, if you conceal your intentions, if you always say less than necessary, if you guard your reputation with your life, if you get others to do the work and take the credit, if you learn how to keep people dependent on you, and if you pose as a friend and work as a spy, you're a piece of shit. You are a piece of shit and nobody is going to want to be around you or be near you. Period. Sips tea. Sips tea. And it's frustrating because I'm all for reading books for insight. I'm all for reading books so that you can form your own opinion and develop strong ideas and, look at different perspectives. But this is disgusting. And you don't have to read the book to see that. You don't have to spend money or give support to this man to see that this book is gross. You can skim it. You can look up a review on Amazon. You can flip through the pages. And so, again, I rarely bash or talk down on a book that I have not read myself, but I have no desire to read this book because I don't want to. I don't want to and I don't need to. I don't need to read it to get the gist of it. And I don't want to because I have no desire to be a piece of shit human being that wants to control everybody around me. Period. So that's how I feel about that book. And that's exactly why when I see somebody reading it, I'm going to say something. And if you come around me reading it, I'm gonna stay away from you. And if I come to your house and it's on your bookshelf, I'm not coming back to your house. I'm not. Now, what's funny is if I ever have a copy of the book, or if I ever get my hands on a copy, I'm going to keep it for satirical reasons. I'm going to keep it to make fun of it and to like refer to. So if I ever have it at my house, it's actually probably going to be hidden because I'm not going to want nobody to see that bitch when they come over. It's going to be under the bed collecting dust with the dust bunnies and spiders. But yeah, it's just, I hope that you guys can take away something from this, and that when you see somebody reading it, now you have something to say, or now you have some insight to share with them, or now you have some light to shed on them. And again, if you really are looking for a book that's going to uplift you and make you a more powerful person for yourself, and going to help your inner power, your self-power, and all that good stuff, again, Anatomy of Loneliness by Teal Swan. And I know a lot of people read the title and they're like, but I'm not lonely. It's not about loneliness as far as like feeling singular. Again, check it out, or you're also more than welcome to message me. But Anatomy of Loneliness by Teal Swan, amazing replacement, because fuck 48 Laws of Power. We ain't 48 Law of Power and no more. It's canceled in 2021. Yeah. And that's the tea with Jackie B. I hope you guys have an amazing Wednesday. I hope you burn every copy of 48 Laws of Power that you see. And I hope that now you guys can go around stirring the pot whenever you see it, and telling people to put the book down so they can level up. And I'll leave you guys with that. I hope you guys have an amazing Wednesday. Much love, always love and light as usual. I hope that you guys have an amazing day, and I will talk to you guys soon. Have a good one.